Book of Faces, daytime, or not Book of Faces, what am I talking about? Instagram live stream, daytime, Soonie, about to get weird. Talk about some racial stuff. Should be festive. Should be a fantastic time, a splendid time. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's the good word? What's the good word, friends? What's up, daytime? What's up, daytime people? Daytime citizens of Earth. Thank you so much. What's the good word? What's the good word? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, California? Beach loving life. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's up, Jamie? Yo, what's the good word? Bean Baggery. What's up, Christina? How's it going? What's the good word? What up? What up? What up? What's up, Mandy? How you doing? How you doing? Tori, what's good? Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, Timothy? How's it going? Thanks for being here. Yo, just your everyday run-of-the-mill white dude, just chatting about race. Soft limits. Soft limits. Be careful. It's illegal. It's illegal. Be careful. What's the good word? What's the good word? What's up, Soonie? What's the good word? What up? What up, Dave? What's the good word? What's going on? Yo, so today apparently is race day here on the Bobby Sausalito channel. Just decided that we're just gonna go deep. I read this crazy article today. I did a video about it, and I just figured Soonie was a good person to chat. Soonie's a super interesting and awesome, very intelligent person that I think we'd have some good dialogue. So we're gonna do a little bit of talk about things that she's passionate about, and we're just gonna do a little jam here. Figured we'd have a good time, and it would be a festive little event. So without any further ado, please welcome. We're gonna talk about the black community, and I'm white, but I have a black shirt on, so I'm allowed to today. It's no big deal. It'll be fine. Yo, yo, what's the good word? Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. It's early morning.
Yes.
Oh, I'm taking in the view here in Japan.
Yeah, so you're in Japan. So tell the little people about your operation before we get started, so they know what you care about.
So I'm a military spouse. My husband's an active duty service member. We got stationed here in Okinawa. I started my podcast in the U.S., but it took off when I got here. How ironic! When I leave the country, my podcast takes off.
Yes.
So it's been fun. It's actually really it's a learning experience because the people here appreciate America. They appreciate Trump. And it made me look at the country in a completely different light to just be more appreciative. It's crazy how much they don't envy what we have, but they're excited. They want the same opportunities we have, and we're just kind of pissing it away. So it's a catch-22.
Yeah. So that's they're saying that to the people that are on the base, or just the people out in the
Local,
general.
just the locals here. Like the guy who owns my building, he saw me with this hat on, and he got so happy. He's like, "You like Trump?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my God, Democrats are pieces of shit." And I was like, "Yeah."
Nice. I love it. That's fantastic. So our topic of the day, what we want to talk about, because you and I were talking the other day, and why we're even here in the first place, is because you have a passion for the black community and informing them as to why you think that they're being held back, and the topic is why they eat their own and how we can fix it. So what are your thoughts on this? Today is like race day for me. I posted a video about race earlier today, so like what's your initial thoughts on this topic? Like what can we do? What do you want them to know?
I think we need to start highlighting the actual issues. I think we need to stop talking about police brutality and the big boogeyman in the room, which is racism. I think people just need to go ahead and accept it's a democratic tool that they use to divide us. If you can show me where Black folks are suffering from white supremacy in the hood, in suburbia, in the rich folks' neighborhood, show me where. Because I've been a part of all three somewhat. And when I was growing up, white people weren't the issue. It just wasn't, you know? We make up over 40% of all HIV positive tests. People are dying. We kill our own. I think Crime is up 100, I think it's 362% across the board in the US. We make up 33% of all homicides in this country, and we're the minority.
Yeah.
It's a bigger issue, and it has to do with policy, number one. And the only way we get around that is by getting involved in government, but we haven't. We're just kind of just plateaued. I'm just going to chill here. I'm going to stay on government assistance. Not all Black folks, but a large portion of us. And I think the only way we change that is personal accountability. It's you. How, how
Yeah,
do
right.
we love again, respect again? All those things are severely lacking. Like, bro, culture is taking over. It's a sad situation. That's why I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about it, because there's so much love and talent there that gets overlooked just
How,
because people are angry.
why, how is it that, how is it that there's all these available statistics that are so obvious, like all the numbers that you just said, and like for example, like how 70, I think it's like, I think I heard today 70% of crime on black people is from black people, something like that. It's like 70% or something. So how, in the face of all of these numbers, all of these very objective, exact numbers, what are what are these people hearing? Are they just not hearing it? Or do they just not care? Or do they not care about the numbers? Or like, why is that message not like, here it is on paper? Why does that
Yeah.
not like resonate?
Well, just from my experience, and I know a lot of other Black folks can relate, we don't talk about that in the Black community. It's like a taboo subject. If you bring it up, people are like, well, white people do it too. And it's like, yeah, but white people ain't on TV crying, asking for their lives to matter. That's the difference.
Right.
Um, it's a literal mental block. Like you said it on one of my shows before. It's cognitive dissonance. When you can see something on one side, you can call it out, but when somebody points at you and they're like, "Bro, you're doing the same thing," you're like, "Nah, it's different. Nah, that's not why." We have had the victimhood mentality pushed on us so much that it's a part of life now. Like, that's just it. It's a part of life. It's a mentality. You notice it when you come out of it. You're like, dang, I was really making excuses. But when you're there, that's your reality. And people think that, yes, perception is reality, but there's also one all-knowing, just one standing truth to the matter. So it's, I believe it's a little bit of brainwashing. I really do. You tell somebody something for so long, they start to believe it about themselves.
Right. Don't you, do you think that it's like if it was me and I saw somebody like Michelle Obama being so like, you're a victim, you can never make it. I mean, do they do you find that your constituents would agree with that? Like that if I'm watching Michelle Obama and she's point blank being like, well, you're screwed from the jump and we have to equalize the someone else has to equalize the playing field. Don't you guys be like, hey Michelle, like what the hell, dude? Like
No, it's, you know what? It's crazy that you say I think that. I'm like, if you could do it, so can I. What are you talking about? But other
right,
Black folks are just like, oh, Michelle Obama, man, she's the wife of the president. It's like, okay, I will aspire to be that, but I won't work hard to get there. That's where it's at.
right.
They look up to it, they admire it, they ain't gonna put the work in behind it.
What is with that? What do you think is how do you attribute that lack of like? Because I remember over the summer there was like this there was this I think it was like a museum or something. I forget what it was, but it was like this learning package that talked about how like hard work is like whiteness and things like that, and like associating these things with whiteness. And it's like, how the hell is that? So what I'm wondering is like, where is this lack of work ethic type of theory? Where is that even coming from? Is that a familial thing? Like, is it like I'm not getting encouraged by people in my community to work harder, or is that not a thing? Like, why is that a thing?
Um, man, it's when you're told from jump that you're not gonna be anything, it's gonna be hard for you.
Yeah,
There's not many opportunities out here, like a state job is the level. That's That's the cap for a lot of us in the Black community. The state is our number one employer, by the way, in case anybody didn't know that.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah, so I think it's a sense of mediocrity. Um, if you get, just my personal experience, once you leave, you start to become successful. You have people that know you, you have people that will, vouch for you and say, yo, this is a solid person. Especially on the conservative side, immediately people want to tear you down because you've had some success. And instead of asking like, yo, how'd you do that? You get hated on, like
Yeah.
straight up hated on. So I
Why?
think people are scared to lose their black card. That's why. I've lost my black card. And once I lost it, when I say that, I'm talking about a product because black culture is a product. It's not really our culture. It's a product that's sold to us. You lose your black card. And that's scary for some folks because then responsibility is on you. So no, it's not encouraged for you to go out and do anything different in the black community. It's not. It's a hive mind like mentality. And if you think differently or you do something differently, then you're ostracized. Period.
It's weird. Like I can't think of any. I can't think of any. I guess you could say like white equivalent of something that I would lose by making progress. It seems like such a strange thing to be mad at that somebody else is advancing. What do you think that? What do you attribute that to? Like to me, it's like you want to aspire to more to get the admiration of your peers, regardless of their race. What is that? Is it do you feel like that's you almost like that's black people almost focusing on race just like in and of itself? Because like when I think about that, I never was like I don't want to lose my like white, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
don't know, does it translate? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think it's a generational thing. I honestly do. I think it started with the ones before us, and it's like telephone. You get a message, and then you get years down the line, and that same message or those same ideals that they might have had then aren't the same ones we have now. I don't know why I don't think it's just strict, just the black community. I'm sure that there's some attributes that white people suffer with that as well, as you might not fit in too well if you're this way, but you don't lose your white card. It's different with black folks because it's a hive mind thinking. Like we're all supposed to have each other's back. We're not supposed to deviate from it. If I feel like there is racism against me, you're black. You should know what it's like. So you need to step up as well and say something. But it's like, what if my experience is not yours? What if I've never had a bad experience with a white person or white people have just been super nice to me my entire life? That's my experience. I got picked on by black people. I can't help that.
That's racist. So what do we? So okay. So it's one thing for us to just jam on it, but like, what do
Yeah.
we think if we could impart some piece of wisdom or some message as to how this is combated? Like, what do we do? What can we do? What message can we put out there? Because to me, like when I think about every influence that I had growing up, every person every person in my life, regardless of race or whatever, was always like encouraging me to do more, encouraging me to do better, celebrating wins. Like from coaches on the baseball team to the soccer coach to my bosses. It was always about lifting up. It seems so counterproductive that anybody would think that you're somehow no longer part of the squad because you're doing something that's right. So
Yeah.
what can we how do we get this message? How do we get this message to these people? Like what can we say to them that they could be like, all right, is it like encourage others or like what message do we give?
Um, I think we have to have several different messengers, unfortunately, in this political atmosphere. Um, I could reach the average 30-year-old that probably has my experience rather than me going to talk to somebody in the hood. Number one, I have not spent the majority of my time there. I've been there, I know what it's like, but they're gonna look at me like, you ain't never lived here, what do you know? I think the Republican Party needs to become more inclusive and understand that having two big conservatives, Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, is not what's going to translate and speak to the Black community. They're great, by the way. Shout out to them too. But you have to open that field up to everybody. I think the way we do that is for real love, information, actually showing people like, look, you have these opportunities. You can go here. You can try here. Looking at other people that look just like you, aspire and actually achieve their goals and become successful with hard work. So I think it's, personal accountability needs to be taught there, and we can do that by example. Information, accurate information, and love. Imagine if the government, because they control, the inner city, they control what happens with the state. Imagine if they loved the hood. Imagine if school choice was something that was advocated and stressed and people knew about. They have opportunities. Oh, well, we need school choice. Okay, well, I'm going to put my vote behind this person because they're going to offer me school choice. My child can get out of this area. And maybe you can set a trend to not have everybody grow up in the hood, but have at least one person leave and create something to get you out of that situation. Like, I think legislation is a huge part of it. It won't matter.
Right.
It won't matter how much I sit here and talk. If I don't, if my words don't translate to them, it's going to be bouncing off of deaf ears. They're not going to hear me.
Right.
So legislation and more representation so that people feel comfortable wanting to vote Republican or whatever it is.
Do you find that political conversation, which I could probably guess the answer to this question. Do you find that political conversation is just not ever part of the conversation? Is it just like, oh, they hate us anyways, fuck them?
Yeah, it's a feeling of weariness on both sides. They don't trust government, and I understand it. They don't trust it. And when like I said before, when you get the same brainwashing, the government did this to you. I bring up Black Wall Street a lot. And they're like, well, white people took it down. I'm like, yeah, but Black folks created it. We created it. So why can't we create it again? It's so seared into their brain that a white person came and destroyed everything we did that they don't ever try. Just don't try.
Yeah. How do we how do I mean, these are loaded questions. I'm asking you like on behalf of all Black people on earth. But it's like, how does your average low melanin mayonnaise white man such as myself bridge this gap? Like, what can I do to contribute back to this? What can your average random white person do to like help change the course of this? Because I think that what I think is so messed up is that the lack of encouragement and the lack of trust. It's like, how does somebody that's not in the inner circle, so to speak, that doesn't look like you, like, how are you going to trust me? Like, could you ever trust me? Like, how do we do that? How do I prove that I'm not racist purely because I'm a white person?
So, for all the white folks out there, I'm about to get real Joe Biden and look in the camera and pull out your heartstrings.
Yes.
Be you. Real shit. I'm just gonna keep it a band. If somebody thinks you're racist, it will not matter what you do. It will never matter because they have it in their brain that you're racist. Show them action. That's all you can do. I used to think white folks didn't like me, but you know what? I had to actually get around white people and be like, dang, okay, that's not what I thought. You just show and prove. And you don't have anything to prove, just keep being yourself. It's okay to be white. I'm about to come up with some shirts that say that. It is okay to be white.
Yo, I can't wear that though. I'll get kicked in the street. Imagine if I had a shirt that said that.
It's okay to be white. Just white folks, you can't do anything.
Right.
It needs to come from the Black community. It comes from within. We don't have fathers in the home. A 94 crime bill destroyed that. Yes, Trump took steps to fix that, but we also got to keep voting in representation that's going to push forth legislation on our behalf. So all I can keep going back to is personal accountability. And it has to start at home. We all have to lead by example and information. Like what we're doing now. They see a black conservative and a white guy on a show together, and you're actually like you're dope. I call him like, yo, that's the homie. That's the homie. I know if I just want to chill out and do a show, I'm like, yo, Bobby, what's up? And we can sit there and have that conversation, and it's
Right.
love. So I think people seeing that might open the door up a little more.
Yeah. What do you think about all the people? What do you think about when black people are racist against white people? Are they not seeing that? Like, I don't know if you saw the video that I put out today, but there's this article that said that whiteness is a pandemic. And this dude writes this article about basically how being white is this very bad, very evil thing. And I'm like, dog, that's mad racist. Like you're being racist, saying that this is like it's like how do they not have the self-awareness to understand that you can't fight racism by being racist? And then like I wanted to make this video to talk about it today, and I'm like I gotta be honest, when I go out into the world, people that I know that I'm friends with, like buddies of mine that are black, I'm just like, is this person gonna see a video of me and think I'm racist now? Like when I know that we're cool, you know what I'm saying? It's like I have to wonder, like I have to kind of look out of the corner of my eye, like I hope they don't think I'm fucking racist because I'm going out and talking about this shit. Because I feel like if it doesn't get talked about, then we're doomed to continue repeating this. So it's like I'm trying to step out there. But what do you think about people that do that are fucking racist when they're trying to combat racism? Like, how do we stop that?
We can't. I grew up with it my whole life, like my whole life, and I have white people in my family, and that's a weird dynamic. It's like I'm about to use one of the left's words. It's covert racism. It's inside. It's an unspoken thing, and I think just like the way I feel, if there's a person that's racist and white and they just don't like me, you just don't like me.
Right.
There's nothing I can do to fix that. That's extremely prevalent in the black community, though. Like hatred for white people is real, and it's manufactured hate because they don't really understand why they hate white people except for slavery. That is it.
Yeah, I find that also very peculiar. It's like I don't know the age of the guy that was writing this particular article, but I would wager that the guy's like probably not that much older than me. He may not even be older than me. And he's like writing all this stuff about this 400 years of oppression. And I'm like, dog, I came in 1987, fam. Like it's not like I was here like oppressing folks, you know. And like even my parents and my grandparents, it's like it's not like they were like partaking in this simply by existing. And then on top of all that, it's like I didn't know anything. I didn't even think about race. I didn't even think about race until it became part of this conversation. I'm like, oh shit. And it seems like it's been escalating in recent years. So it's like, where is all of this racism? I don't understand where the racism is coming from. Because like I'm not like out and about with all of my buddies and we're like, yo, did you see those blacks? Yeah. Like, we're not just being, I don't know. And I would say that that's probably vastly less common now than ever before. But it's so prominent in the conversation. It's like, are they just literally like baiting us? And then to follow up to that question, why are so many prominent black folks like Stacey Abrams being like every single thing is race? It's like, why are they doing that? Don't they realize that that's so counterproductive to their own cause?
See, here it is. Racism is a manufactured issue. It's not real. Are there racist people? Yes, but America's not suffering from racism. They will package communism as racism, as climate change. All these things, yes, it's counterproductive to the movement because they're not actually trying to eradicate racism. They want more so they can push their agenda, which is global governance. Like that's facts. That's a baseline. So nothing that the left does makes sense because they have ulterior motives. If you try to ask them to explain anything, I can guarantee you they cannot explain it without having to do mental gymnastics.
Right.
So Stacey Abrams is not really saying, she knows damn well. We talked about this the other day. IDs. Yeah. Everybody in the hood got an ID. You need one. You need one. Tell me who is suppressing somebody's vote by removing the blue bins. Who in the hood is voting? Except for maybe old people. that just vote Democrat because they vote Democrat.
Right.
It's hogwash.
Right. Right. So what I'm wondering is like who who's out here supporting Stacey Abrams? Why is she is she just a pawn for them to be like, look, she's black, therefore she is the authority on what's racist and what isn't. Is she
Oh, for
just like
sure.
is she bought and paid for? Like, and if so, why doesn't she lose her fucking black card? Like, what is that about?
Because she got a D in front of her name. That's it.
Facts. There you go. That is very true. That's a good point.
What's happening? What's happening, bro? Look, it's because she's got a D in front of her name, period, point blank. And that's what black people relate to. The same people that oppressed us before Reconstruction, the same people that oppressed us before slavery was abolished, even after every tragedy that happened to the black community came from a white liberal. It's Go fact check me. Everybody watching, go fact check me. Do your research. You'll find that it's a white liberal behind everything all the time.
Right. I mean, didn't Malcolm X say that exact same thing about the sheep, about the white
Yep.
liberal being the sheep or being the wolf or whatever?
The
Or
fox. He said
yeah,
fox
the
is
fox. Yeah.
cute. Fox is dangerous. And he also look, he called out the Republicans too. He's like, look, they're no better, which they're not. But nobody listened. No, nobody listened. It's insane how we're given the tools to succeed. Like we got the cheat codes years ago, and nobody picked up on it. So it's wild to me. I'm 30. Malcolm X spoke in the 60s, and I'm relating to Malcolm X more than my parents did.
Yeah, I find that is interesting. So here's a question. How what how did you for lack of a better term, like how did you become so woke? Like how did you escape this victimhood mindset? And could we reverse engineer that as a way of sharing it to other people? Like, do you remember what really lit you up about it? Like, did somebody sit you down and be like, yo, this is what it is, bro? Or like, or how did it go down? Like, how did you cross that bridge? Because you said you started out like that.
Yeah, so I'm the statistics that Obama talks about, the kid that grew up in a single parent home, you're more susceptible to jail, high school dropout, drugs, all that. I grew up with everybody being liberal around me. Everybody. Then I went to high school, I got to meet different people. I finally left the small town that I was in, and I ended up meeting my husband. We met in high school, senior year.
Where was
We were
this? Where did you live?
we lived in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
So he's mixed race. And his mom is white. So it put me in a really weird position because it's like, oh, I like this guy. He's cool, but his mom's white. And she ain't gonna like me because I'm black. That was my mentality going in. I spent time with them and I just saw love. I saw family. I saw them enjoy each other's company. I also saw them watch Fox News. And where I'm from, if you watch Fox News, you're racist. Don't watch that. That's for white people. But I actually sat and listened to Glenn Beck. That's what did it for me. He talked about
Interesting.
George Soros and how he was going around collapsing different economies to push forth the New World Order. Now, this was like 2008, 2009, and I was just like, there's more to this. So I voted for Obama twice, but his second term, when they pushed, everything he pushed was, pro LGBTQ, and I don't have anything against that community, but like everything, everywhere, and I'm like, where is this country going? Like, what are we doing? He made it so that they can have propaganda pushed across the airwaves with the Defense Act. I don't know if people knew that. I started looking at all these things, and then I just prayed. I felt really confused. I felt conflicted, and I just asked the Lord, whatever it is, can you please, just please? It was torment. When I tell you it was torment, I felt like I had been lied to my whole life. And then I felt like maybe I'm not being lied to. Maybe they're crazy and I'm the sane one. Until I just put my hands up, I prayed, and then I think I watched Uncle Tom. It came out, I think it's 2 years ago now, and it confirmed everything that I thought. and it used history to do it. And I was like, wow. Ever since then, I've read Thomas Sowell. I watch all of his videos on YouTube. I follow him. I learned about Walter Williams, all these great leaders that I had no clue about. That's another thing that we're suffering from. We don't know who these people are. We've never
Right.
heard of them. I never heard of Thomas Sowell until I was 28 years old. So it was my husband. Everybody thank him, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be here. I really don't. Him
That's
and God.
awesome.
Like, he woke me up to a lot. His family, I love his family, my in-laws. They exposed me to a lot. And I'm grateful for that, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them or these experiences.
That's cool. That's a really interesting story. So really, it's like it's access to information that changed your mind alone. It wasn't like he sat you down and was like, "This is what it is." It's like you just saw it in front of you, and you decided to navigate down that path on your own.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. Life hit me in the face, like,
Do
wake up,
you
girl.
do you attribute that to any aspect of your life aside from him? Like, because it'd be one thing if you just saw it and then you were like, well, whatever, I just don't want to pay attention at all, because like you had to have a thirst to learn just in and of itself. Was there something else in your life that kind of like tipped you off that you should spend time researching that?
I don't know. I've always felt different. I can't explain it. I've always felt different. I've always been interested in learning. Um, it's kind of like when you find your purpose in life. This is my purpose. I know that I'm good with information. I can store it. I can pull it back up because I'm supposed to do something with it. So I've always known there's something different about me. I didn't know what it was. Even when, you're around that and you feel like white people don't like you, I never knew why. So answering those questions like, okay, why do I feel this way? Why this? Why does my dad, if white people are so racist, then why do they, support my uncle? I watched my uncle. He's another example that I like to use. He built an entire fitness empire. You know what I'm saying? He built an empire. He came out with Taibo. Everybody around the world knows Taibo. A black man from small, rinky-dink Erie, Pennsylvania, built a multi-million-dollar empire. That right there just set me out for the rest of my life. I always looked at him like, how do you have it and the rest of us don't? So I think it's just curiosity. I like to know stuff. I
That's
just want
pretty
to know.
interesting. So I bet people probably didn't know that your uncle.
Nope, I try to hide that. I really
Yeah.
do.
Actually, I actually didn't know that. I wondered that because I saw your last name, but I didn't
Yeah.
know that for sure. And I was like, I'm not just going to assume. I'm sure there's other people. So that's your uncle.
Yeah, that's my dad's brother. Like, my dad is, people probably know my dad too. My dad's John. He's the one in the videos with him. My uncle's Michael. I grew up, I had the best of both worlds. I grew up very humble. Like, I knew what it was like to struggle. I know what it was like. I had to go through with my mom. And then I would go spend time with my dad. And I got to hang around basketball legends. Like, I watched Kobe and Shaq play in their first game against each other. Those were my experiences. So how can I say I'm a victim? And I'm like, 6, 7, 8 years old hanging out with legends.
Right.
I don't know they're legends,
Right.
but I'm around these people that other people look up to. Come on now. We can
Right.
do better.
Right. So how does somebody that doesn't have that access, because that probably has a far more underlying significance than even meeting your husband, because it was like, because the possibility was there, the representation of this greatness and your ability to access it and actually being inside it was already there, like in your real life. So if somebody doesn't have that, how can we, like, I know that's a loaded question, but like, how can we reverse engineer that? Like, how do we let somebody know that that's a possibility without them having that same access?
I think by doing what we're doing here. I think, I'm going to speak it into existence when we start doing our college tours, when we actually go speak to the youth, people that were my age. I know they won't let us do high schools because of how weird the political atmosphere is, but
Yeah.
going to colleges, man, like, really getting to the youth and telling them like there's more to this than you think.
Right.
Even the community colleges in the inner city, I would love to go there and talk, just to talk to them, because they don't have anybody speaking to them. They don't have anybody that loves them, like really loves them. I know your parents love you, but do they really love you when
Yeah.
they're allowing all these other things to come into your life and sway your judgment? I believe your parents are your first line of defense. Like I put up a video the other day of my kids. My daughter was so upset because my son said, "You like Joe Biden?" She was so upset because they understand. You know, they might be young, but they understand there's a difference. This is not we don't they don't have the same morals as us, and I explain why. The youth doesn't have that anymore. So if it's coming from, we're not old, you know, we can still relate. 15 years ago, I was just where you were.
Right.
We can still relate to them. So college, man, when we go to those campuses and start talking to these kids, I think that's laying the groundwork to change a lot.
Yeah. When I remember like I dropped out of college, but I remember going to some college parties and stuff. And I remember thinking to myself how easy it was for people to like react and then output what the people around them were doing. Like if one person lit a couch on fire, like somebody would throw a chair in the fire and then someone would smash a beer bottle on their head. And it was like this rapid fire catch of people around. And like, if you could be self-aware, you'd be like, yo, this is like I remember I was at this one party and they threw a couch on this thing. There's a helicopter, the fire truck came up and everyone was like, oh shit, it's hilarious. I'm like, this is not good. Like there's a fireman running back here. Like this is not good, right? So the rapid fire of influence in college is so like it's like see what everyone else does and then make your decision. When I looked at like the riots over the summer and it's like this guy smashes a car and then 100 people bolt into a building and start fucking stealing everything. Now this was not just black people. I'm not going to say it's a black or white thing, but I'm just saying like there was a significant amount of that. So what is it with do you find that maybe, and I don't know if this is a white thing or a black thing, do you find that the propensity to see other people doing bad things is like the influence is very fluid where it's like, yeah, let's all go. And is it like how do we get someone to step outside of that and be more of an independent thinker and be like, maybe we shouldn't rob this fucking store? Is that a cultural thing? Is it just so happened to be, or like why do you think that might happen? I mean, that's a loaded question, but
It is. I'm trying to figure out how to answer it. Let me see. You know what? Social media and trends are what kids pay attention to.
yeah.
So I think it's social media and the mob mentality that's been like really pushed. And the youth, they're immature. They see one person go do something, they're about to go do it.
Yeah.
And our adults are immature as shit too. Oh, I
Right.
saw you do it. I'm about to go do it. This looks cool. So how do you combat that? I have no clue.
That's what I'm trying to understand because it's like because I find that and like look, I'm on the outside looking in. It's like I'm trying to dance on eggshells when I'm even saying this because I'm like I don't want to look like I'm racist by saying this, but it's like if I was to look at black culture like objectively, it's like there's a lot of destructive behavior that's celebrated. Now I'm sure this is true in all cultures, but since this is the specific topic, it's like all right, destructive behavior. It's like looking down at women and looking down at or celebrating drug sales or celebrating whatever. And this is not just black. It's not just black. But I'm just saying it's like there's all these destructive behaviors that are so celebrated. And it happens in every culture. But it's like, how do we promote that like not being good? Because it's like it seems so obvious that it's like this hive mentality where it's like, let's all just do these things that are collectively destructive.
I think it's a matter of networking. Like, I found Cash, and then through Cash, I found Russo, and through Russo, I found you. And now we're all working together. I really believe if we as influencers propped up, because you have to compete with the culture. Like, we just have to. That's where we are. If we propped up rappers that were actually talking about something, because that's what these
Yeah.
kids relate to,
Mm-hmm.
we could have a fighting chance. But conservatives don't do that. Conservatives are so rigid. We can't do this. Nope, that's against my morals. But it's like, this is 2021. We have to accept that there are people that don't believe the same way we do, but doesn't mean that we can't work together. for a common goal. So networking. I big up J. Cole all the time. That's where I got my name from, Soonie the Middle Child, because he has that the middle child of the song, he's got so many things, catchphrases that he says in there that I relate to. Like he says to the OGs, I'm thanking you now. Was watching you when you was paving the ground. I copied your cadence. I married your style. I studied the greats. I'm the greatest right now. Imagine if we had other influencers like myself to go spit that knowledge to all the youth and say, look at what they was doing in 65. Look at what they were doing in 56. Look at what they were doing in the Reconstruction area. Look at the people that were actually making changes. Their life may have been cut short, but what were they doing? And how can we perfect it? That's the only way I see is even having a fighting chance. We got to become a part of culture. And the left is dominating right now. Like, dominating. And that's where the youth is.
The other thing that I think about, no, I think those are very, very well articulated points. The other thing that I've been thinking about lately is how everybody's blaming the structure of government for a lot of problems, as opposed to the people that are controlling those structures of government. And it's like, well, the government's evil just inherently. And it's like, I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is like a little bit deeper below that truth is that the people running the structures of the government are the ones that's the problem. It's not actually the structure itself, it's the ones that are operating the structure. So without getting younger people to be more concerned about how they can be integrated in that structure instead of just demonizing the structure as a whole, it's like that seems to me to be like a huge solution, because it's like these people are running it and those people suck. And even though I believe that we should have smaller government, I believe that the institution of government obviously is necessary and there's a lot of good that could happen there. But since there's such minimal representation, it's like, how do we make that cool? Like, how do we make that interesting? And aside from what you already said, which I already agree with.
How do we do that?
Because they don't trust it, right? Because it's like you're just inherently not trusting of it.
You look at Millennial Millie. Millennial Millie dropped a hell of a documentary, which a lot of millennials our age and underneath us watched. She revealed a ton of truth. I think truthers need to come out right now. Like right now, this is a time for conservatives to do a comparison, compare and contrast. Like, look, this is what the current government is doing. Let's look at Trump. Okay, this is what Trump did. Was this pro-American? Was it not pro-American? If there is some type of scandal, people got to hop on it just like we do at Primetime Patriots. I'm going to hop on that story. I'm going to research it, and I'm going to find the truth and put it out to people. So I think information, actual truth and information will do that for people. I really do. Like, information is powerful. That's what woke me up.
I think that when I look at everything through like a business mindset, because I know that it translates through like all aspects of life. It's like business is nature, is life, is society, whatever. And I look at this open gap, which is, to me, it's like the ability for you to be an outwardly vocal, well-meaning, well thought out, articulate, intelligent, Black conservative youth is like this wide open gap, where it's just like, I would almost think that those people would be propelled in this sphere way more than like your average white dude like me, right? Like, there's plenty of me. Like, we don't need, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like if somebody was to take that step and be like, I'm young, Black conservative, hip, smart, intelligent, cool person that has pro-America, pro-success, lift other people up type of mentality. It seems to me like you'd be very unique in the marketplace. And like you said, you identified there's only a couple prominent figures like a Candace Owens or a Brandon Tatum. It's like, how do we continue to emphasize that, where it's just like, you have this wide open window where we would all want to propel you, because that's more, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's the people. We are the consumers. We honestly dictate what they put out. Like, we really do. It would take American citizens, just like with a candidate, it would take you getting behind somebody, sharing their content, like really getting it out on a mass level. And like we're doing now, networking with each other. Now other people can probably know who I am and reach out that way.
Right.
I like the slow grind. I really do. This part of the of my journey is the best part because I want to take accountability for my wins and my losses. So I don't want to be like pushed into the stratosphere too soon before I'm ready for it.
Sure.
But the people, you guys, everybody watching, the viewers, you share our content, you buy our merch. You're like walking promo for us all. So I think it starts with the people, and the people need to realize how much power they have because they don't really feel like they have it right now. And I understand it, but you do.
Yeah.
Your voice and your power, your vote, it means something.
I think the thing that blows my mind, and I mentioned this on a live stream that I did, I think it was last night, is like I watched a live stream yesterday with a celebrity and like a big magazine, and the celebrity had 1 million followers, the magazine had several 100,000 followers, and they had the same amount of people in the live as we do right now. And
Wow.
I remember just being like, that's like real power. Because it's just like, even though it's like we have this small audience, whatever, it's like the video will get however many thousand views. I think people like look at these big numbers and think that these are unsurmountable. It's like they had the same amount of people watching that live. And like this video will be viewed 5, 10,000 times over the course of the platforms and stuff. And it's like
Right.
there really is like quite a bit of power that is there. And then I'll bet you each of the individual people that are watching this, whether they're watching it right now or tomorrow, they're not sitting there thinking like, well, I'm just one person. It's like, imagine how many people they know, how many people they can share with, the 300 to 500 people that know 500 people. It's like, really, it's like really a wildfire. So these numbers are like relatively irrelevant. I just hope that people don't get distracted by the numbers and think that
Yeah.
that is some type of impedance between them actually getting the message out there. And I think that's why I wanted to have you on is like I don't care if you had 5 followers. It's like this is the type of
Mhm.
thing that needs to happen. It's like people did that for me when my account had no one on it. And even the other day, it's like I sat down with Andy Priscilla. This guy's got 2 million followers, and he's with
Mhm.
Bobby Sauce at 35. It's like he didn't have to do that, but he saw something, identified it, and then helped to propel it. So I think that message of like, hey, we need you guys making content. We literally need you guys speaking, thinking, putting it out there, saving it, and allowing us to distribute it. Otherwise, like this message falls on deaf ears and it dies.
Facts. That's it. It's just us coming together. Us coming together and Americans that really love the country, like just not even diehard Americans, but people that just recognize the fight that we're in and the odds that are stacked against us right now. We all have to come together on some level to even show up and speak over the ignorant ones because they're the loudest ones and they're not even the majority. So just
Right.
imagine 80 million people sharing content that's pro-American or just introducing the world to different people. The people have the power to do that. It
Right.
starts there.
No, I think that absolutely is the case. So now, considering that we both kind of agree that there's this open window where everybody can kind of where like I think that type of content could really propel itself. When your accounts first started to catch on and when you started to get some people to start following you, what were some of the initial things that you did that kind of got you going on it when it seems bleak and like I have 0 followers? People have asked me that a few times. I'm like, dude, I didn't set out to like have. I didn't know that I'd be able to get 40,000 followers. I didn't know the formula. I was just making stuff because I was making stuff, and it's happened to propel. So if somebody sees this and wants to start that, what would you say when you were starting out at 0 followers and no nothing, and you start like, what could you say to them to help them kind of like get it going when the numbers are not there initially because they're not going to be, of course.
Have a purpose. I started out because I wanted to call awareness to what the black community, what was happening in the black community. I got tired of watching it. I just got on there and I was myself. I was honest. I would say things that other people wouldn't say. Some things that people are afraid to say.
Yep.
And I would just get up there and spew it out. And it was therapeutic. It felt good because it was stuff that I was holding in. So when you're starting out and your numbers don't translate, that's okay. You're just now getting thrown into this algorithm with millions of others that have a number higher than yours. Keep going, because what you're doing is going to resonate with somebody. I remember I started out with 4 followers. I literally had 4 followers for months. I would have 0 views. And now I'm sitting talking with senators. I'm talking to representatives, mayors, governors, and my videos get thousands of views. So have a purpose, and keep like a real purpose. Don't get on here because you want fame, because you're going to get burnt out real quick.
Yeah.
Have a purpose. Bobby gave me information. Like we were talking before, he gave me some good advice. Have fun. Have fun doing what you're doing. It's already stressful, but you
Yeah.
got to have fun. So that would be my piece of advice. Have a purpose, have fun, and don't apologize for anything you say unless you got it wrong. But if those are your feelings and your ideals, don't bend or break on it.
That's good. That's a good comment there for sure. Yeah. The thing that's been crazy for me is like, I don't know that I'd be able to do what I'm doing if I wasn't enjoying it. I originally was like, this is just funny. It's funny because it's insane, but my purpose was there, but I didn't know how I could translate it without it being boring and bland. And I used comedy as like the way to get through. So I liked what you said before about like a hip hop artist. I mean, generally speaking, I would almost say that like the Black community in terms of creative output probably excels quite possibly beyond all other, if we want to race pocket people, like the Black community exports more creativity and culture than anybody. So it's like you got the most, and on top of that, what I think ties a lot of culture together is interchanged thoughts between people that live close together, that are talking all the time, that are always jamming. Like it's always a party, it's always interaction, right? So it's like you have all these quick exchanges. So this output, this creative output is like this untapped potential, whether it could even be through just dancing, but it's just like, if there's a message there, there's something to it. However, you got to get it out. So I like the idea of like having fun with it and using your unique talent and not necessarily saying, well, it's just this, so it can't translate to that. I make videos that are funny, but then there's also this. And it's just like, that's been kind of the key to my thing is like, people don't watch me because I'm just on here being like, how do we save America? It's like a combo, you know?
Facts. People can tell if you're real or not. The real people, they're like, I'm not watching him. They can tell. But when you give people something and they're consumers. We have to present a product, and a product doesn't have to be bullshit. It can be the realest stuff you've ever said, and people are only going to get that from you. That's why people watch me. I have no filter. Now, I'm starting to tailor my words to where it's extremely intelligent what I'm saying, but sometimes it pisses people off.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. That's what I believe.
I think a lot of the things is that, one thing that I kind of learned initially is that whenever I tried to fit into a mold that I thought had more lasting power, more distribution power, I ended up artificially suppressing my own original intuition. And that me going against what I wanted to do anyways, because I thought it had to be a way, shut myself down out of my own thing. That was something that I started to learn. I'm like, wait a second. It's when I just came on, I'm like, yo, this is bullshit, that it really worked, you know?
Yeah, man. We have to be ourselves. Some viewers are going to like it, some of them aren't. That's what I was dealing with. I I had people like loving everything I did, and I'm like, oh, this is myself. And then you get the new viewers that come in and they're like, yo, you say the F word too much. And it's like, I've been saying the F word since y'all been watching me. It's nothing new.
Right. I've gotten that pushback as well, and the answer, the when other people have asked me that, like, should I not do that? I think about, the one thing that I think about is like, what about the people that you would capture because you're doing that, as opposed to the ones that you would lose by not.
Right.
That was something that was hard for me to understand as well. As I'm just like, for every 25 people that watch this, it's like, I bet I pick 5 up because I'm just doing what I would do anyways. It's like, you don't want to swear for the purpose of swearing, but if it's different than your normal cadence or what you would normally do, then it's like, again, you're like going against your own instinct.
Yeah. That's it. The Black community, there's love there. There's love in the hood. There's love in the inner city. It's just misguided. It's misguided. I don't believe we need any more leaders. We don't need any more idols. We need examples. Examples of people that are actually doing something and being constructive and actually standing behind the examples that they set, not just being something and not being it in real life. We need more of those. We have had enough leaders and they've led us to the slaughterhouse.
Yep. So where can people find you? Where can people support you and follow your channels and all of that?
Well, you can follow me here, Soonie the Middle Child. If you want to follow me on YouTube, it's Hot Mike Soonie. I've got to change that. I don't know why YouTube did that to me, but that's what they did. And then on Facebook, it's just Soonie Blanks. You can find me on any one of those. I go live every day almost, and I talk about a specific topic and how to make Americans think again. A lot of times it's culture, because I'm trying to get more into culture, which is funny because I get a lot of viewers from that now.
Yeah.
And TikTok. If you want to find me on TikTok, it's under Primetime Patriots. I do fun TikToks on there as well.
Cool. Do you have a last an imparting wisdom to leave to close out the jam here?
Imparting wisdom. Let me see.
A final thought, as it were.
I feel like I'm on a Jerry Springer show. Final thought. People just need to. People have stopped thinking. You've stopped thinking, and you're comfortable allowing the government to think for you, and it's got us into the predicament that we're in. Okay, I blame our parents for the problems that we're having now. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. It's your fault. So I would just tell people to trust themselves and use your brain. Think, do research, find information. And if you can't find it and you don't understand it, find an independent journalist that you're cool with. Find somebody that's actually giving out information that you can trust, and then you go take that and compare it yourself. Those are my closing.
Awesome. That's what's up. Well, hey, thanks for being on here and doing the jam. I'm gonna save it and post it and all that. And appreciate that. No problem. That was productive. I think that we shared some good things there. That was cool.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right. See you later. All right, y'all. That was really cool. That was a very productive. That was a really productive conversation. I thought that was awesome. I'm glad to be able to talk on that topic, and I got some questions answered for myself, because it's everyone is so constantly kind of like hammering in this idea that everything is dictated by race, and it's like, oh, if you're white, you can't understand it. It makes someone like me be like, well, am I supposed to like not weigh in on this now? Now I can't talk about this. Like I can talk about everything else. I talk about all these things, the things that I want to talk about, but I can't talk about this. Like shit, it's so counterproductive, and it's like goes against the initial. It goes against that kind of like instinctual belief that I have, which is like, if we don't have conversations about it, we're gonna get clapped. Like this is what we have to do. This is what we're supposed to do. This is the only way to do it, because it's like, if I don't do it, then no one does it. It's like recycling. It's like picking shit up at the beach. It's like taking something at the beach and throwing it out in the garbage can, or just leaving it on the sand. It's like, yeah, it's just one bottle, but if it's my bottle and 150 other people's bottles, there's bottles all over the beach. So I kind of look at it that way as it relates to these types of conversations. Like this is a dicey conversation for like a white dude to have, or at least that's what they want us to believe. But in reality, it actually isn't. There's actually a lot of value and good things. So I feel like I got a lot of value out of that conversation. I thought that was really cool. Soonie is awesome. Go and give her a follow. Support the cause. I mean, she said it point blank. It's like, go give her a follow. Follow her on Instagram. Go follow her on Facebook. Follow her on TikTok. And support people that are putting out these types of conversations. And, let me know if you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to post the video up. Let it be known in the comments. Like, share the video. Post about it. I really appreciate that. And, like, if this is the right thing and what we just did here was something of great value, I'll do more of them. I respond a lot to social cues. I respond to what you guys say and what you do and how you react. So if you like that, drop some comments on the video, share it, post it around. Let me know what's up. Let me know that you liked it. I want to give a quick shout out to the people that bought badges. I always like to say thank you guys for that, because it makes a difference. Even a dollar here and a dollar there is always great. It's always very helpful. So thanks so much. Thanks to Parada Timbercraft, my boy. Thanks to Abe P. Dot, Mark Schisler, LCC X-Ray, and Anna Maria Bozdas, and AKA KB. Thank you guys so much for scooping up badges. We really appreciate that. But most importantly, thank you for being here for the live stream. Really appreciate your time. And I'm glad that I think that I got a lot of value from that. So I'm hoping that you did as well. If you did, share it, comment, let people know, tag your friends and stuff like that. And cool. And if you didn't see my video from today, watch my video from today. It was like kind of a hot topic, and I was like, am I allowed to talk about this? But that exact mentality is the exact reason why I was like, I got to talk about this, because we can't just allow this stuff to happen. It's like someone's gonna go against what we think is the right thing. We got to call it out. So, thanks you guys. Thank you guys so much for your time. I very much appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Go watch my video from today. Follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Bobby Sausalito. Follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Bobby Sausalito. Parlor @takenaps. Appreciate y'all. See you later. Watch my video from today.